Hey guys, this is Nick with PhoneArena, and just as expected, Apple announced iOS 10 at its annual developers conference. The new software is more fun to use, it is more functional, it is more open to developers, and it's also not quite ready to launch yet. We're expecting to see iOS 10 released later this year, probably in September. However, we managed to get a hold of an early developers preview of iOS 10, and we have been using it for a few days on our iPhone 6s. Let us show you what is new. First of all, iOS 10 brings some major changes to the lock screen. If you have an iPhone 6s or an iPhone 6s Plus, raising it will turn the display on, which is a new way of catching up on notifications. We think it is a convenient feature, but if you don't like it, you can just turn it off. It is also new that the swipe to unlock gesture is now gone. In iOS 10, you press the home button to wake the display or to unlock your phone. Removing the gesture was probably done to make way for lock screen widgets to be added. You swipe to the right to access them. Swiping to the left from any point of the lock screen launches the camera. We actually like this new shortcut because we don't have to aim for that small icon in the bottom anymore. Here we are in the iOS 10 home screen. What's new here is that widgets are now in their own dedicated panel. You access them with a swipe to the side, just like you do on the lock screen. They are organized vertically, and there's also a search bar at the top. Many of these can be expanded to show more information, and of course, you're free to rearrange the widgets the way you want them. In the meantime, the notifications panel is just that, a panel for notifications. There's nothing else getting in the way. As before, you can clear notifications with a swipe, and this button here in the corner lets you dismiss a whole group. Now that we've mentioned widgets, some apps that have them will show a widget if you use 3D Touch on its icon. This is actually a very useful feature. For example, we can see our activity progress or the weather conditions without launching an app for this. We can access our favorite contacts and recent notes. And by the way, this should work for third-party apps as well, or at least it will eventually. So as you can see, 3D Touch is much more useful in iOS 10, but it gets even better. In Control Center, you can press on the flashlight to get different brightness levels, and the timer shows several common time presets. Another change here is that the music controls are in their own separate panel, where there is plenty of room for playback controls and album art. Now let's take a look at Messages, which is getting a major upgrade with iOS 10. Fundamentally, it is still the same application that you use to exchange texts or iMessages, but there are now more ways of sending your message across. Let us show you. First of all, emojis are 3 times bigger, and if you switch to the emoji keyboard, it highlights every word that can be replaced with an emoji. There is also support for emojis right in the word prediction bar. When sending iMessages, you can add effects to the chat bubble. You can make it bigger or more gentle, depending on the nature of the message. And with this new invisible ink feature, you can hide text or photos. Then the recipient can unveil the surprise by swiping across. For extra dramatic effect, background animations are also available. But there's a lot more coming. Here's how you send a handwritten message across. You pick a color and write it down. You can even add special effects or doodle on a selfie before sending it. If you send a link, it will turn into a preview of the page it leads to. If it links to a video, it can be played back right away without leaving the app. Apple is also making it possible to access content from third-party apps, but there is not a whole lot we can show you right now. What is available is the option to send songs from Apple Music. We also have stickers. This is how stickers will be accessible in Messages, and you will be able to download new ones. The biggest new feature in Photos for iOS 10 is called Memories. Think of these as albums that the software generates for you. For example, if you go camping over the weekend and take a bunch of photos, the app will create a memory and will highlight interesting images. It can also generate a video of the event that you may edit if you wish. We have a feeling that people are going to like this one. What is also new in Photos is that the app can recognize different scenes and objects. This makes it super easy to find all the cat photos in your library. The app can also recognize faces, and it does this very accurately. Pretty much every person that you take a photo of gets their own album. Now, a lot of people use Siri, and in iOS 10 she's going to be even more helpful. Apple is opening up access to its virtual assistant, meaning that she can interact with some third-party applications. For example, you can ask her to send text messages over instant messaging apps like WeChat. She will be able to get you a ride on Uber or to search for puppy photos on Pinterest. There is more to come, but apparently we do not have access to this functionality right now. Changes are coming to Apple Music as well, and the biggest of all is the redesigned interface. The app now puts a lot more focus on the user's library, so it is easier to get straight to the music that you want. And if you have songs downloaded on your device, these are quickly accessible in their dedicated section. And these are just some of the many changes that are coming to iPhones and iPads in iOS 10. There is also the new clock application, which now has a dark theme. It can alert you when it's bedtime and it can track your sleeping habits. The Notes app is getting the option to share notes with other people so that they can contribute as well. Apple Maps is getting some user interface changes, and it should be better at giving you suggestions for places nearby that you might want to go to. And this new Home app will act as a hub for controlling the internet-connected devices around your home: smart light bulbs, thermostats, door locks, and so on. But even the few iOS 10 features that we previewed are enough to support Apple's words. This is looking like the biggest iOS update yet. Apple doesn't just throw features here and there because that is what we're expecting it to do. Every feature has its purpose. Every change and every tweak is there to make iPhones more fun to use and more practical. To be honest, there are things in iOS 10 that we're not big fans of, but let's not forget that we're looking at an early preview version, and the software is very likely to change for the better by the time it's ready for its official release in a few months. Until then, keep in mind that there's a lot to be excited about. Thanks for watching our preview of iOS 10, and subscribe to our channel to never miss a video.